Chapter 5 is about managing the cultural heritage experience through visitor involvement. In the first subchapter, called Co-creating Appealing, Distinctive and Memorable Cultural Heritage Experiences, we lay the ground with some basic concepts about the experience economy, the tourist experience, and co-creation in cultural heritage tourism. First of all, we have to understand that tourism and leisure can be considered typical elements of the so-called experience society or experience economy in which we live nowadays, according to authors such as Schulze, Panin-Gilmer, and Schmidt. Here, an increasing value is attributed to experiences rather than possessions, to sensations, emotions, and symbolic meanings rather than functionality of things. Varga and Lusch coined the term value co-creation, occurring in networks in which resources are exchanged among multiple actors and the consumer assumes an active role. Nowadays, value is indeed created through the provision of personalized experiences with a multiplicity of sensations which should lead to involving, pleasant and memorable outcomes to the consumer. In Panin-Gilmer's seminal work on the experience economy, the author suggests a model classifying experiences within 4 realms of experience, which are potentially overlapping. They classify these realms according to 2 main dimensions, namely participation, which may be active or passive, and connection to the environment, which may be one of absorption or of entire immersion. Accordingly, they suggest that experiences may be entertaining, educational, aesthetic, or escapist. This framework has been frequently used for analytical purposes, but also for systemizing approaches, designing experience settings. As an alternative consumer experience framework, helping systematize the experience dimensions, Schmidt distinguishes the following 5 experience modules: to sense, feel, think, act, and relate, which frequently also co-occur. He stresses that consumers are increasingly demanding regarding their consumption experiences, which should arouse their senses, touch their hearts, engage them personally, and stimulate their minds to be appealing and satisfactory. Let's now come to the concept of the tourist experience, which has been recognized as central to the appeal of any tourism product, attraction, or destination, and which is also quite complex in terms of dimensions, apart from the previously mentioned ones, also being prolonged over time. That is, occurring already before traveling, during the stay at the destination, and being prolonged after the visit. The tourist lives the experience in a highly subjective manner, co-creating it actively, engaging in it with all senses and with the mind, attributing it symbolic meanings resulting in increased memorability. Enjoyable, engaging, and optimally arousing experiences eventually lead to states of flow, where tourists are immersed in challenging action, both physically and mentally challenging, which may be achieved through the right balance between the desire to explore new environments and situations and the individual's prior competences and skills to face them. That is, the right balance between familiarity and novelty. Cultural heritage managers should understand these dynamics and possibly help travelers to cope with the challenge of novelty and transform it into engaging, significant, and memorable experiences. There is increasing empirical evidence regarding the most important dimensions of the tourist experience according to the presented models in specific tourist contexts. For example, O. Fiore and Jung found that the dimension suggested by Pine and Gilmer, aesthetics, is most important for the bed and breakfast experience, while Lee and Smith found escape and entertainment to be more relevant for museums and historic sites. Lee and Chung in another study found that the dimension act from Schmidt's model would be most important for wine tourism. Active engagement has in fact been found relevant in many cultural tourism contexts as well. Here, the concept of co-creation in cultural heritage tourism is an important issue. Binkhorst and Decker suggest that co-creation in tourism refers to the interaction of an individual at a specific place and time and within the context of a specific act. Several authors refer to active tourist participation and social interaction as central dimensions of such a co-creation. Campos et al. Suggest a model of co-creation focusing on the on-site experience, occurring in an experience-scape, where tourists interact with others and the environment, being both mentally and physically active, which, through a variety of psychological states, should determine experience memorability. In a destination context, co-creation deepens thereby the tourist's subjective engagement with the place, which consequently contributes to unique place experiences. A close contact between tourists and supply agents, service providers, and local community alike is frequently assumed, as well as the opportunity to immerse in local culture and identity. This immersion should lead to more perceived authenticity, unique and memorable place experiences, which are highly appreciated by tourists nowadays, and contrast to a serial reproduction of culture, which sometimes is the case in massified cultural tourism products. The potential of co-creation in cultural heritage tourism experiences is thus increasingly recognized as significantly contributing to tourist satisfaction. In cultural heritage experiences, the availability of information, communication, engagement, and atmospherics has been found to be very important. Minkiewicz et al. Identified the dimensions of co-production, engagement, and personalization as central to visitors' co-creation in museums and art galleries. Last but not least, developing creativity in co-created cultural heritage experience is an interesting approach, connecting cultural tourism and creative tourism, providing visitors with opportunities to express themselves creatively, integrating materials, processes, and themes associated to the visited heritage site. This should enhance personal relevance of the experience and thus its meaningfulness and memorability.